Hello, everyone. It's Alice here. We're going to wait for a few people to come on. All right. Let's see who's coming on. All right. There she is, Stanley. Good morning. Good evening. Awesome. So we got one participant today. All right, Stanley, you're going to have to ask your Q&A if you would like, since you're the first person on. Would you like to ask me a question? Yeah, they're going to come. I'm thinking an hour, and let's see how it goes. But depending on how much time you have, we could totally just do half an hour just to test it out. So either we can. No, you don't have to ask a question. You could just do your work stuff while I just hang out and wait. I don't mind. Or I could just text on my phone. So you don't have to ask a question. I'm giving you a hard time. All right, awesome. Yeah, you just hang out, moderate. And if you want to ask a question, you can. But you and I talk a lot anyway, so I know you're busy on a Monday. I got this light over here. I don't know if this is better or if I should turn it off. All right, it's a little bit less bright. Cool. All right. The days of the first live. Damn, that's dark. I'm on Spain's time, so it's 6 p.m. Well, it helps to have at least one person on. That's where my phone actually, Stanley, I'm gonna see how do I connect with my iPhone. Lighting looks good. It did get dark without it. FY feature reference, multiple light sources will improve shadow cast by your arms. Will improve shadow cast. Oh, like here you mean? What do you mean the yeah. I mean, these are the early days. Hi, Robert. How are you? Thanks for tuning in. Oh, got it. We're working on some lighting here. Where are you tuning in from, Robert? London, Ontario. Wow, I didn't even know that there was a London, Ontario. Well, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you, Robert. We're going to be waiting for a couple more people to come on. But if you want, Robert, in the meantime, you can ask a question. I think I'm not going to do a formal introduction. We're just hanging out. Or you could just hang out here with me. Toronto, it's between Toronto and Detroit. I've been to Toronto. I do like Toronto. Oh, hi, Jake. Hi. Getting ready to drive, so I can't send my chat. All right, cool. You're listening. Awesome. Awesome. All righty. Jake and I actually met. We found out, well, we didn't meet in person, but we found out that Jake lives in Pennsylvania. because at the time that I posted a video, I was in Pennsylvania visiting my brother. So, hello to you, Pennsylvania folks and Canadians. I love Canada, actually. Let's see, I haven't been to Ontario yet, but I have a friend in Ontario. So, all right. I'm going to wait for a couple of minutes. I like the star. Thanks, Jake. Well, currently I'm actually in Valencia, Spain. So I actually record from Spain. I've been spending some time in Europe, and I like to create videos in Europe because it's really nice. I have family out here, so I'm between the States and Spain. If you hear the any alarms outside of my window, it's because I live by a hospital. What are your thoughts, plans for the new year? Good question, Stanley. Well, that's interesting because I'm always I have family in the United States and in the Czech Republic and in Germany, so it's always um, thinking about how to divide my time and who should I prioritize. And sometimes I just think about, well, maybe I won't visit family and secretly I want to go to like a food kitchen and serve soup to the homeless. So I'm always thinking about what can I do instead of celebrate the holidays with family. Could I do a service trip? And I one of my most memorable experiences on Christmas was in Chicago, and I went to a homeless shelter, and I served soup, and I loved talking to the people there because they were giving me life lessons. And I just remembered this was in college. So I had a really good time uh, just helping out. So I know you, Stanley, are shopping with your family. So did you get any big gifts? Anything for the family? Yeah, so this is it, it's well, for if we look at Christmas and then if we look at New Year's Eve, because this was the original question, New Year. So you didn't specify New Year's Eve or Christmas or any other holiday. But New Year's Eve, I typically like to stay in and reflect on the year and keep it super low key. I don't drink. So I've been about 2 years, I haven't drank, a year and a half. So it's really nice to just stay in with friends and family. But yeah. I'm working on it. We'll see. Nothing's set in stone. We're looking at buying a small ranchette down here, so we're keeping the budget low for now. Nice. What is a ranchette? Ranchette. Is that like a small ranch, I'm guessing? Like a casita in Spain, we say small house, casita, casa, small house, casita. Is that what you're referring to? Like a small ranch? My brother actually has a ranch home, and that's like one floor, and it has a little bit of a basement that's built into this rock, and he does have an attic, but it's very small, and it's this like long house, and it's called the ranch style home, but it doesn't look like a ranch to me. I'm thinking like Florida and having horses on your property. They look like a ranch and cut into pieces. We're wanting to buy 1 to 2 pieces of that ranch, 5 to 10 acres. I have no idea how that looks like. I can't even visualize it. What does it mean to cut into pieces? I gotta look it up. Robert, I actually have a question for you. Herlik, if that's how I pronounce it, that is a Czech last name. I'm actually from the Czech Republic. I was born there. Are you Czech or do you have Czech ancestry, Robert? I'm curious. All right, Stanley, they just divided the ranch up to sell it. Okay, so they divided like the actual house or just the lots? Oh, German. Very nice. What part of Germany? I have family and friends in Germany as well, in Stuttgart. I love Germany. I've been there 3 or 4 times already, to Berlin, Munich for Oktoberfest, and then there is, oh, just the land. Okay, cool. Let's see where else have been. Berlin, Munich, Stuttgart, Dusseldorf. Dusseldorf. That's I love Dusseldorf. So very nice. Just the land, yeah. I want to have land one day. On my brother's property, you see a lot of deer and hawks and turkeys. And I actually, for my birthday in October, I saw these two black bears, and they were playing with each other and climbing trees and just smacking each other. And one bear was scratching its legs, which was so funny. And it was very close to the house. So, yeah. Lizard Man, where are you? I love the name, by the way, Lizard Man. And that's Jake over here. Where are you driving, Jake? I'm curious. I'm always curious where people drive. It was actually originally spelled Herrlich. That's a German name. I could see that, but it was changed by my great grandfather during the First World War One. I don't know where in Germany we came from. Interesting. Okay, yeah, because Herrlich is Czech and Herrlich is German, and that's why yeah. But it's Czech names and German names are very similar. Actually, my name Alice comes from Old Germanic origin, and Alice means noble, I found out. Alice is also the name of the first daughter of the first president of the Czech Republic, Jan Masaryk. So my dad chose the name, and his aunt was named Alice. I love names. By the way, Stanley, my favorite flower is the orchid. The white flowers, even though I have roses behind me. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that my first live, we have 3 people on here. That's nice. Yeah, back. All right. I'm going to the airport to visit my family in Utah. That's where I'm from. Okay, Utah. Very nice. I've been to Salt Lake City. I wanted to actually go snowboarding there, but I didn't get it. I didn't have enough time. I was going to Moab, Utah. And I love Moab, Utah because it's just absolutely amazing. I rented a bike and I was climbing the rocks with the bike. That was not my idea, it was my brother's idea. And we had a lot of fun. So Moab, Utah is one of my favorite places to visit. I just got back from Provo myself, small world. I've never been to Provo, but I've heard about it. I think it's small. It's a small place. Stanley, what's in Provo? I'm curious because you're in Texas. Two buddy offices. Okay, cool. For those of you actually that don't know, Two Buddy is awesome. And I'm not just saying because Stanley, the engagement manager, is on here from Two Buddy, but because Two Buddy is one of the reasons why I didn't quit YouTube in the second month when it got really hard. Because when you're starting a YouTube channel, it's really difficult to prioritize what's first, and you don't really know what to talk about, what to do, or you have all these ideas. And so TubeBuddy is a software, and it's a software company, and they have this plugin. It's called TubeBuddy, and you could attach it to your browser essentially. And Stanley, I don't know if I'm explaining it correctly, but you have the software that connects to your YouTube channel, and it could give you insights as to who's watching your channel. Also gives you insights on which titles and thumbnails or the cover art on the videos are performing well. So TubeBuddy has helped me kind of understand those people that are watching, you guys that are watching, and what you like to watch. So I think without TubeBuddy and Stanley's guidance, I would have quit by now. And I'm not getting sponsored to say this, but I just want to give Stanley a shout out because he's incredible and awesome. So if you guys have YouTube channels and I definitely recommend getting TubeBuddy and getting in touch with Stanley. Stanley's not going to have a lot of messages in his inbox, but they also have a Discord group. So if you want to learn, that's how I learned. Go to their group. They're awesome. I love Moab too. I took a paleontology class and we looked at dinosaur fossils. Wait a minute. Paleontology. I need to look up that word. I don't know that word. What does that mean? Does it have to do something with fossils, I'm guessing? Let's see. Okay. Paleontology is a scientific study of life of the geologic past that involves the analysis of plant and animal fossils. Thank you, ambulance. Please quiet down. Okay, that's interesting because that's super cool because my father actually loves fossils. And as a kid, for Christmas, we got like fossils. And one Christmas, he gave us dead bugs that he caught in Africa, a collection of bugs he killed and he put behind glass. And we also got butterflies. Like he went to Africa to catch butterflies. My dad is an interesting character. He likes salt. He traded salt with a company in Zimbabwe. So he was buying salt from Zimbabwe, shipping it to Europe. Just snowboarding sounds like fun. Yeah, I started when I was 15, but my dad put me on skis at 3 and I broke my knee. My ski went this way and I just twisted my knee. Dad has some ideas. You got it, Stanley. Robert, thank you all. Thank you for your content. I enjoy your videos. Must go now. Thanks for your time. Thanks, Robert. I appreciate you. I'm going to try to do these Q&A each week. So I'll see you next time. Thank you. Awesome. I'm going to try to do these Q&A. So the point of the Q&A is that for those of you that are leaving comments on my channel, in the comment section of the videos, I want to make sure that I appropriately address all of your questions. So I thought that I can do the Q&A because it's that this time is for you, so I can address all your questions. And I would love to do that in case I didn't get to all of it in the YouTube channel, because sometimes I miss the comments or I don't get to answer all of them in a timely fashion. So I figured that I could just host these question and answers every week and we'll have fun with them. You never know what could come out of it. I collect and pin bugs too. Yeah, that's what he did. He had this like white, it looked like a canvas. I think it was a canvas. And then he had the bugs and then he put the pin through the body and he put everything behind glass. And it was a black frame that he taped and air shut sealed. And I think it's still in my storage unit. What bone did you break? Yeah, just if it sounds like dad traveled. He's been to like 50 countries. I broke my left knee. I don't know what I broke, but I broke something here. So sometimes my knee pops. Let's make it time to get deep. Also, be sure to leave a thumbs up for Alice going live. Thanks, Stanley. Thanks for helping to moderate. So I guess I'll start with the focus of this channel and why I started it. Maybe you'll get some ideas to ask some questions. Thanks for the thumbs up. Yay. Okay, so funny story. Get by, make it with Alice. I'm always dabbling in things and I'm a bit of a nerd. I like to try software. I like to work on projects and hobbies, hopefully turn them into a business. Sometimes I succeed, sometimes I fail. Most of the times I fail. but we talk about not failure, it's just a step back and it's a learning lesson. So you never really fail at anything, you just learn a lesson. So I was on Upwork, and I ended up starting a copywriting and ghostwriting agency. This was 2 years ago, a month before ChatGPT came out. Stanley MVP. I hope you enjoyed your time in Utah. Woo woo. And I ended up being basically on Upwork, and I'm writing for clients. I'm using ChatGPT. I'm writing my own stuff, and in it was last year February. I was in Spain, living the life. Everything was great, and I had two major accounts. These two big companies that were paying me nice. It was nice, but I lost them as clients at the same time, and they ran out of a budget. Actually, it was not because of my performance, but one had financial issues, and the other one put the project on hold. So it was like a large chunk of cash each month that I lost. And I was living off of my savings. And then I ended up being like, oh shit, I have like $50 in my bank account. And then I had some savings, but it was running out. And so I used the channel to motivate myself to think of how I can get out of a situation like this. And at the same time, my roommate had just lost her job. And my other roommate was starting a company, and she had a lot of financial issues. And I said, that's it. We got to get by, girls, and make it. Like, it was a reminder that no matter what situation we're in, we have to get by with what we have and make it. Like, essentially get out of the mess. And that's what inspired me to create Get By Make It with Alice, which is a online education and communications channel. So, has anybody actually, let me ask you this, Jake. Have you lost a job or been let go from a job? And what did you do uh, when that happened? How'd you get by? Yeah, Stanley, I bet I would want to visit the offices actually one day. That'd be great. And then I have an excuse to go snowboarding. I'm loving the Utah connection. All right. Well, Jake can't even chat too much because he's driving. He has the hands on the wheels, and that's responsible. My brother's always texting and driving. Let me see if somebody can come on. Right now, I don't have a job. I dropped out of grad school and I'm living off my savings while I figure out what to do next. Great. That is a great place to be. I totally feel for you. I almost dropped out of grad school myself. What did you study? I'm curious. And it's not a bad thing to live off of your savings and investing in yourself to learn, which is what you're doing. So something's going to come out of it. What'd you study? I think one thing that's actually interesting about dropping out of school. Uh, so I'm living in Europe, and I mean, I come from an educated family, so like having a degree is a big deal in my family. And in Europe in general, whether you're in Spain or Czech, like you almost need a degree to be valuable or have value. And it's like in America, it's almost like if you drop out of school, it's either seen as cool or irresponsible. But actually, you're if you're kind of working on your own business and you drop out, people are like, oh, okay, I've done that. Like Steve Jobs done it. All these big tech CEOs, a lot of them dropped out of school, so it's kind of cool, or it's part of being an entrepreneur. But in Europe, like, you don't drop out of school. It's not seen great. But like, I always think that everybody has their own path, and it's just like you figure out your way, and it's always about what you love to do, because ultimately when things get hard, then you end up still doing what you love, and hopefully you can monetize what you love. So that's, you're on the right path. I lost my job in the oil fields during the pandemic. Stanley, I still got to sit down with you and talk about the oil fields. Like, I lived in Bakersfield, California, and I went swimming near Oilsdale, and the water, when I got out of the water, my skin had like a thin film on it. It was oil, and I smelled oil, and I never went swimming again. But it ended up being a good thing. Good luck. You got this. Yeah, it always feels scary, but it's always a good thing when you get fired or when you quit, because it was not meant for you anyway. But it's always scary in the beginning. I promise you'll be fine. We're always fine. We find a way because we're humans. And let's see, I was on track to study herpetology. Well, let me ask you this, Jake. Is this why your handle is Lizard Man? Do you like to study lizards and fossils and dinosaurs? Evolutionary systematic, yeah, reptiles. That is interesting. Snakes and lizard are my passion. So is evolution. Different is marvelous. Well, that's awesome. I had a client actually who and started a business in Florida. He's one of my bosses, and then we ended up working. I worked for him, then he worked for me, and then we worked on projects together. And he was importing lizards and eggs, reptiles mainly, from Latin America and Africa, and selling them to privateers in Florida and across the United States. So he was actually a reseller of reptiles, and he ended up selling to like pet shops. That was his business. Um, and he did that. So, have you thought of selling lizards to privateers? To that conversation, worst time of my life. I hated it. It was good for me, but had very bad memories of it. Oh my God. Plus oil fields, Stanley, you're slaving away day in, day out. That is some manual labor. that is that's a lot of work. Um, what did you learn working in the oil fields? What were some life lessons, Stanley? I'm curious. That's so cool. I'm a fan of animals myself, love reptiles and frogs. My dad, actually, back to my dad and his crazy stuff, he would buy frogs, and he would, baby frogs, and he would put them in glass um, aquariums next to my bed in Czech Republic. Now, those were our early pets when we were like 5. And then I ended up always wanting to play with them, and I would always like open up the lid, and then I would lose the frog, and then it would end up dead under my bed. I would catch tadpoles and then put them in bowls, and then my mom would take them and flush them down the toilet. My brother and I shared rooms. We shared frogs, dead frogs under our bed that we shared when we were little. Yeah, Stanley, we're going to have a conversation about life lessons on the oil fields. That could be a book, Life from the Oil Fields, or something like um, Sweat, Blood, and Dreams. Sweat, Blood, and Dreams on the Oil Fields. That's a great novel. I could help you write that. Yes, oh, frogs. I like toads. We had a toad in my grandma's house, and it was very loud and it was ugly, but it was cute at the same time because it would just look at you like this. Thanks, Stanley. Stanley is a cheerleader to all the YouTubers that he talks to. Stanley's just a cheerleader in general. His family's lucky to have him. Yeah. I think I have a picture of the frog somewhere. Gotta look it up. I'm gonna find it. Not good stuff. There must be something. Blood, sweat, and dreams. Because if you're working those long hours and you're out there, it's hot and you're sweating and you're just down, there must be something you're thinking, like a dream out of it, like escape. Maybe I'm imagining a hero's journey for you. That's the writer in me. I think we'll, let's see. There's Mike. Hey, Mike. Mike Shaw TV. I always wanted to be a TV weather dude when I was young. Weather dude, like a weatherman, like the somebody who reads the weather forecast. Ended up not going to college. I went to a small market. Which market? I started in radio and worked my way up, became a weatherman after a few years. That's cool. That is cool. So this is really funny about the weather. Every country has like their way of um, talking about forecast on television. So I'm going to share with you in Czech Republic. I'm from Czech Republic. This was about 10, 15 years ago. I don't know recently if they still do this, but 10, 15 years ago, if it was a hot day, you would have a woman that would come on and literally take off her clothes, except leave her lingerie on. Now, this was national public television. This was like 10, 15 years ago. I don't know if she still does it. I haven't seen it recently. I think they might have taken it off. And I was very confused, like, Mom, why is she in a bathing suit? We don't do this in America, but this is Czech Republic. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Um, yeah, and oh my God, these are memories coming back from Czech Republic. We left when I was 7 and we immigrated to the States. And on the Sunday paper, the Sunday newspaper, I'm not making this up because my dad, that's another story. But he would read the Sunday paper and he would only buy it because on the back of the newspaper, the weather forecast, you actually saw the same woman, but she was topless. In Czech Republic, you could be topless, but you cannot take off your bottoms. So you would see this woman's breasts. And the Sunday paper, you had to be 18 to buy. And like, of course, if dad reads it, like kids are looking at it. I thought it was normal back then, but like being in America, this is not normal. This is not, but it was interesting. Um, Such great experience along the way. Mike, you got to share. I'm so excited to like just weather forecast. It's interesting. Right now in Valencia, Spain, as you probably have heard, we had Hurricane Dana. It was insane what happened. I actually found out what really happened. So for those of you who don't know, there was a massive flood. And actually my neighborhood also got flooded. I had to rebook my flight from Newark to Valencia. I had to rebook it a week later because the airport shut down and the runway was underwater. So typically Spain doesn't get floods. And I was I just we didn't understand what happened. And then fortunately, after a few weeks, we learned that there was a lot of rain outside of Valencia. There's mountains. There was a lot of rain coming down. And we also have dams because there's a huge farming community. We cultivate rice in Valencia, Spain. And so we had these dams that were 70% full. And instead of waiting for it to be filled up 100%, they let the water go. And then the weather shifted and we had even more rain. So with the water from the dam and the rain, it all came coming down. It was like edge of the mountains and it was coming down from the south towards Valencia. And then the storm went up to Barcelona because Barcelona is north of Valencia. So still Valencia region, because there's a city and a region, and the region is still flooded a month later. It was just absolutely insane. And one thing I know about water is that And Stanley, you fish, so you know, like the water moves. Water moves. The newspaper story is wild. Yes. Yes. I don't have pictures because obviously I didn't have an iPhone back then. Um, Same thing happened in North Carolina. Yes. In October, when I visited my brother in the Poconos, Pennsylvania, we were actually going to go drive down to North Carolina to help out with the relief efforts. But the problem was my brother's car broke down and we couldn't get it fixed in time. Almost, yeah, hurricanes and mountains is almost always a disaster. Yeah, and plus I live right by the Mediterranean Sea, so there was more rain coming in. But yeah, wild, wild, wild. All right, we have about 20 more minutes, guys. So if you want to have any questions, um, Mike, where are you based? Are you in North Carolina? Unless you already said it and I missed it. Mark Twain. Everyone talks about the weather, but nobody does anything about it. Oh, Mark Twain also said, if I had more time, I would write a shorter book. Iowa, nice. I haven't been to Iowa. The only thing I know about Iowa is that there are a lot of potatoes that are grown there because I went to a college in Indiana and everybody from Iowa said that Indiana, we grew corn, and people from Indiana said that Iowa is about potatoes. Or is that Idaho? I'm not sure. I grew up in Oregon, was a weather guy in Roswell, New Mexico. Interesting, Roswell. I watched that TV show. Did you see any UFOs? Are they real? I'm curious. And Lubbock, Texas. Stanley, is that near you? Lubbock, Texas? Where is Lubbock? That's a cool name. I was in Texas a couple of times, in Dallas. Lubbock, Texas. Let me see where that is. Oh, look at that. That is west of Fort Worth. Fort Worth is interesting. There was, speaking of weather, there was a storm. I want to say a tornado. I think it was a tornado, but the plane had to reroute because it was Fort Worth, Dallas. We were landing, and we ended up landing in a small airport in the Panhandle. And it's the first time I saw red dirt. And I was like, oh my God. I'm in Texas. There was nothing there. Kind of wild. I was a reporter before being a weatherman. I interviewed the authors of UFO Crash at Roswell. Oh my God. Mike, we got to talk about that. My brother, he's big conspiracy theorist. He works for the government and he always likes these type of stories. We got to find. That's cool. I have two siblings doing grad school at Texas Tech in Lubbock. Okay, look how small the world is. Guns up, red Ralders. I don't know what that means. How cool is that? So we have three people on the live today, and there's a Texas connection. That is cool. Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. And Mike, like I said earlier, this is a Q&A. If you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them, or we can just chat and share. I'm okay with that too. Jake is driving. All my exes live in Texas. My kids and grandkids are there. Oh, it's what the crowd say at sports events. Texas loves their gun. Yeah, Texans, they love their guns, and so do people from Pennsylvania and Arizona and Florida. Texas represent. I say that everywhere. Oh, Stanley, you're the most proud Texan. I'm a proud New Yorker. People from Texas always say that we're like in our own country, and then everybody from New York City says we're our own country. Yeah, I am. LOL. Stanley has a fishing a YouTube channel, and he started posting hunting, and he shot a deer. And that was pretty interesting. I like deer meat. I just cannot kill a deer or skin it. I just can't see blood. So, respect to the hunters. I'll eat your meat. But yeah. Oh, Texas. I gotta go. I gotta go back and visit. I have another channel. It's a daily weather forecast for lower 48. It's small but growing. What is the lower 48 mean? If you could tell me. Daily weather forecast. I gotta check it out, Mike. Can you drop your YouTube channel? Because I want to know how. It's funny. My mom made a comment one time when I was a teenager. She told me I should be on TV as a forecaster. I ended up being a reporter, but not on TV. I was a newspaper reporter for a little bit. And she told me you should read the weather. And I think like I didn't I don't think I wanted to be the weather woman because I was like traumatized from daddy's newspaper clips that he collected and put in a little safe drawer of the woman with her big boobs. I'm like, I'm not gonna be the weather lady. Only Czech Republic. I totally respect that. It can be hard. I don't like killing things, but I believe in knowing how to feed my family, Totally. So, Stanley, thanks, Mike. I'm going to write this. I'm going to copy and check you out. Thank you. So, Stanley, one of the things that I actually thought about in terms of ethics here is like it must be hard to shoot the deer and if it's dying to look into its eyes because the eyes are the windows of the soul and it's you must have like that dilemma but then I look at it as like exactly you're not wasteful and you know exactly what's going in your body so I almost like totally prefer that because I mean I go to the butcher here in Spain I go to the organic farmers the local farmers I ask what goes in the feed and are they practicing sustainable practices so like that's kind of like the dilemma of like we want the convenience of buying the meat in the supermarket but we also want to know where the meat comes from and so yeah it's definitely I get that let me check you out the weather mic I'm gonna subscribe how cool is that there you are nice oh Stanley you should check out Mike's YouTube channel because there's deer in snow how cool is that oh look at that those are some nice colorful maps how cool is that that's cool thanks for the sub yeah fish yeah I went fishing one time in Louisiana off the coast of Louisiana and we went to the oil rigs and we saw these pelagic fish which live at the on the surface of on the surface of the water they're like tuna and and it's just like we were trying to catch a tuna but we caught a shark and then the shark was big it was I don't know what kind of shark it was but I mean we had these machines that like did this like I wasn't doing that I caught an Albuquerque tuna. It was, I think, like 5 pounds, but it was so aggressive. And I'm like, I'm not fishing. It's just hard if you go with your hands. Um, I didn't feel bad about killing the fish. I think, yeah, I don't, it was a little bit easier. We let the shark go. I respect hunters as well. They know a lot about nature. Yes, yes. Um, Hi, Paul. Hi. Thanks for joining today. I appreciate you. I found out like a week ago and have only watched a couple of your videos. What do you talk about mostly so I know what to ask? Okay, Mike. So I talk about mainly communications and online education. So I have a couple of playlists. I started with teaching about ChatGPT, which is a software program. I don't know if you know it. Then I had a playlist on business English, and now I'm doing self improvement and just how to improve your life day by day. So I mainly focus on teaching communication skills and online education. So online skills. Skyline. Hi. How I can be strong and don't worry about upsetting people or alienating them against me. Good one. Let me answer that in a second. Mike, I'm a little bit into AI. I understand it well, but don't use it much. Awesome. Okay, so I'll address these two. Skyline, just so I know your name so I could address you by your name. Is that your name, Skyline? How can I, okay, be strong and don't worry about upsetting people? Full disclosure, you're always going to upset someone. That's the beauty of it. Hi, Bill. Bill Clinton. Hi. I met you, Bill, one time at the UN, if that's Bill Clinton. Um, uh, I just subscribed. Bill Clinton. All right. Okay. So going back to upsetting people. Okay. Well, I've learned earlier on that you're always going to upset someone, even if you try your best not to. And that's one thing. The other thing is that it's important that if you upset someone, that you understand how you did it, and if someone upset you, to understand why. And the thing about human relations and humanity is we are each other's mirror. Have you heard about the mirror concept? So typically when we point, in Confucius, if you point a finger, there's two fingers pointing at you. So if you don't like something about the other person, it's because it's typically what you don't like about yourself. So oftentimes when I get upset or I upset someone, I take a step back and say, okay, is this, did I mean it intentionally or not? How do I go ahead and fix it? And if I can't fix it, obviously everybody's entitled to an opinion. They have a will just as much as you do. So you could control your own emotions. You can't necessarily control other people's emotions, judgments, or thoughts. So my advice is put your foot forward and do the best that you can, which is a motto on this channel. Do the best that you can every day. I hope that answered some of it. Okay, I'm a little bit into AI. So ChatGPT, have you used ChatGPT, Mike? Let me know. Thanks, Stanley. Thanks, Skyline. We do the best every day. That's all we can do. Bill, I served your guest list at a concert once. Stanley, you got to tell me about that. And I like that lightning storm. Paul, Bill, do you want Hillary pardon? Oh. Mike, do you have any opinions on Myers-Briggs? Yes. It's a great tool, just like any tool. You use it in the appropriate context. So there's what's great in the last 5-10 years, I've been seeing just a lot of personality tests, a lot of self-assessment tests. So those are great. Myers-Briggs, just like any tool, is a guide, just like your astrology chart, just like your evaluation for ADHD or dyslexia. These are just online tools or tools that your doctor gives you, or tests that your doctor gives you, an assessment, but they're not like the, it's not 100%. Nothing's 100%. And it's one tool you put in your toolbox. That's my opinion, Mike. Bill, Paul, no, they wouldn't go after her. Mike, I've used Gemini and Grok so far. Gemini Live is kind of fun. I generate funny images mostly with Grok. I haven't used Grok. Gemini is awesome. I also used Adobe. What's the AI tool? AI tool by Adobe. Adobe AI. So it's generative AI by Adobe. It's pretty good. You get a couple of free images and then you got to pay for it. So I forgot how much, but you can try it out. That's cool. All right. ENFP. I think I'm an ENFJ. And pretty right on, I think. Of course, people are individuals. Yes. Awesome. Hi, Edward. Hello. Are you all right? Oh, I love that. Are you all right? Wait, that's who says that? British. Are you British? My lawyer always asks me, are you all right? We can talk about anything. Yes, ask me anything you want, Edward. All right, Paul. Alice, help me sell my almonds. Oh, you. We would go to farmers market up and down coast of California. Amazing. We got to talk, Paul. We got to talk about your almonds. Keep it clean. Yes, keep it professional. Bill, have you used Sora? No. Let me put that on my list to explore. Sora. All right. I used Adobe once or twice. Yeah. There's a couple of so one thing about AI tools that I've learned, I mean, so a lot of these new companies, they use ChatGPT as the layer, and then they build a friendlier user face. I have a couple of videos on using AI, and especially prompt engineering, like how to ask questions. So if you're interested, let me know and I'll drop you the link. You're from France. Okay, cool. You're one country over. Where in France? INFJ. I don't know if you could actually change Jake from an ENFJ to an IN. I mean, it makes sense. I guess I was more extroverted too. Maybe I've become an INFJ, but I'm an ENFJ. I'm pretty sure I am. So cool. We're the same sign, same personality type. I'm pretty much 50-50 introvert, extrovert. So one day I might be ENFJ and the other INFJ. Okay, so the interesting thing about switching from one to the other, so there is something called an extroverted introvert and an introverted extrovert. So you could be an extrovert but leaning towards introvert, and then the other way around. So I'm an introverted extrovert. So Strasbourg. Okay, Strasbourg. I don't know. There's a Strasbourg, France. Is that south? Let me look it up. That sounds like south. No, Strasbourg is in Germany, isn't it? Wait, it's Edward. So you're from France, but wait, am I spelling it? Strasbourg, France? Maybe. There's this. Oh, there's a. Oh, with a Bourg. Okay, I spelled it Burg, and that's in Germany. I think I was supposed to visit Strasbourg. Let me see if I was in Mulhouse, which is south. Oh, you're so close oh, you're on the border. You're so close to Stuttgart, actually. I'm visiting family next week to Stuttgart. How cool is that? We're so close. Near Germany. I know where you are now. Yeah, cool. INFJs are the most extroverted introverts. ENFPs, the most introverted extroverts. Generally speaking, of course, true. I love people and I need my alone time too. Yeah, totally spot on. Yeah, totally. Paul, I go 35 acres of almonds, Merced County. Okay, my friend has a house in Merced. 90,000 pounds. Have you ever roasted almonds in olive oil? No, I think I buy them, but they roasted in palm oil. I need to try your almonds. Do you ship to Spain? Paul, let me know. I have no clue what I am, but that extroverted introvert sounds like me. Extroverted introvert. I'm the other way, Stanley. Introverted extrovert. I'm very quiet and keep to myself, but I'm a chameleon in public and I fit in where needed. Adaptable. That's a great skill. Great skill. Adaptability is everything because usually when you're adaptable, um, I have a theory on adaptability. So when you're exposed to a lot of cultures, you're forced to be adaptable. In New York City, I was around a lot of people of different cultural backgrounds. So you're almost like forced to adapt because you're always in these situations and you're just bumping into people. And when you travel, you also have to become adaptable because sometimes you have limited resources. So I think that's how you become adaptable. The other way you could also become adaptable, I have a second theory on this, is just you're just born into struggles and you're just forced to adapt to your environment. I think change allows us to become adaptable easier. I think it's much harder to become adaptable when we're comfortable. That's kind of my evolutionary theory here. Jake, you can correct me if I'm wrong. So 100%. Yeah, the grit, the struggle makes us adaptable and patient too. I think adaptability allows us to be more humble and patient. Edward, I need a bit of time to open to new people, but once I know I can trust them, I open and I'm okay to talk to them. How much time you need? I'm curious. Like 5 minutes or 5 years? I'm giving you these broad spectrums because I know people that need a couple of years to get to know someone and open up, and there's people like 5 minutes. But yeah, it doesn't have to be that extreme. I'm partially joking. But yeah, it's nice to get to know someone first before kind of sharing everything, because you never know how much is too much information and if that information could be used against you. But in my experience, just when you open up, you inspire the other person to open up, and whether it's regarding some trauma or joy, it's like the connection between people happens when you open up. So I'm a fan of opening up that way. Edward, yes, my brother's an introvert. Well, for example, at work, I needed some month to begin to really talk to people and be nice with the one I like. Yeah, well, work is tricky, right? Because it's not like talking to your neighbor or a stranger. Like the stakes are lower. But when you're at work, you constantly feel like you're being judged and you have a performance review. You need to perform. You need to make sure that you don't get fired, right? So it's much tougher at work. Um, I found it the easiest way to open up at work is just like over coffee or getting lunch, like outside of the office. I'm not sure if you go to the office, but just leaving the office environment is just so much more relaxing. Um, have you ever asked ChatGPT? YouTube strategy channel called Graffiti is actually working on exactly that right now, trying to use AI to make 1 million. So far, it's been a hilarious journey. Stanley, I gotta look into that. I'm taking notes. Nice. All right. Great idea. I live in France, 50 minutes south of Merced. Oh, it's France. Oh, France. Fresno. My God, I need my glasses. Fresno. Living on a farm is too hard of a life. Yes, but everyone tells me my roasted almonds are addictive. 85% of the world's almonds grow in California. That I knew actually in the Choquim Valley, right where Bakersfield is. There's a lot of almonds, and yes, it is. It's tough. When I'm in the States, I don't know if you ship to Europe, but when I'm in the States in October, if not sooner, I would love to taste them. Edward, but like in Little Party, I could talk to a person I did not know directly, for example. Yeah, well, because the party's over, right? And then you don't see that person again. But at work, you have to see the person. So the stakes are higher. I always look at like high stakes, low stakes. If it's high stakes, there's more risk, right? If it's low stakes, then it's less risk. So at a party, the relationships are often transactional, but at work, you develop over time of seeing that person deeper connections. So you also want to take care of those relationships, and that's why you tend to be selective with what you say or who you hang out with. Yes, San Joaquin Valley. I lived in Bakersfield. Pronounced sun walking. Okay. Thanks. Oh God. I need to, my pronunciation isn't the best. All right, I'm going to go 10 more minutes, guys. I got to leave Stanley so he can go back to work. He's been great helping me moderate today. Do you have any other questions for today? I'm going to give him another 10, 15 minutes and then. Are you all on your lunch break? Edward, are you on your lunch break? Paul? Paul, question. Do you eat almonds every day? Do you ever get sick of eating almonds? I'm curious. Like, I wonder, I've asked this farmer here in Valencia. We grow oranges here. And I said, do you ever get sick of oranges? Like, I never do, but I also don't grow them. And him and his wife were like, no, we love our oranges. um, Thanks, Stanley. Edward, okay, no, I'm already home from work. Yeah, because you're in France. It's 7. Mike, I'm currently in work avoidance mode. Are you working from home, Mike? Edward, I will soon after. Okay, I will eat soon after the live is finished. Okay, cool. 7 o'clock dinner time. Oh, you guys are great. Thanks for asking all these questions and sharing. I appreciate you. I was expecting one person to show up. We got a few. All right, any other questions? Is there anything that I didn't answer? Caltrans. I retired from Caltrans. I designed freeways for 23 years. I eat almonds a lot, but not every day. Amazing. Hi, Angel. Hi. Um, Paul, actually, I'm working with the Transportation Commissioner of Mississippi, and he funded the Highway 82 bypass. So we got to talk about highways. I'm working on a writing project with him. Mike, yes, I work from home mostly. Amazing. Insurance conversions. Also have a web client in Tucson, Arizona. Oh my God, I love hiking in Tucson. I love Tucson. Also work for a nonprofit on a couple of podcasts. Okay, what are the nonprofits? I'm curious. Hi, Angel. Ask me any questions. How to have many subscribers? That is a Stanley question, but I can answer from. I'm a civil engineer. Cool, Paul. Awesome, 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 awesome. Civil engineers. We have engineers in my family. Angel subscribers. Well, I have 2 YouTube channels, and they have different. I started at the same time in April, and they have significantly different subscriber counts. So with subscribers, I think I would go. The best way I would answer this is to consistently post content and test, see what works, what doesn't. This is what Stanley told me to do. Make sure to be consistent and just test different videos, and hopefully people like it and then they subscribe. I don't really have a more in-depth response because I'm still new to YouTube. I'm like 7 months in. But how I did manage to get a lot of subscribers on this channel was this one video that went viral. If you spare me 5 minutes, you'll get anyone to like you. And that just, like, I had 500,000 impressions, so about 500,000 people, right? Yeah, saw that video and some clicked, and they just subscribed. So I got a lot of subscribers through that one viral video. As for my other channel, my subscribers are growing slowly. I haven't had any viral videos, but I think Stanley is the guy to ask for subscriber strategy. Are you looking for like a subscriber strategy, Angel? Let me know. Sounds like a great life, Mike. My Mano, Mama Papa. Oh, that's cute. I never saw that spelled that way. Lived in Mississippi. Got sugars in Granada Lake. Cool. Yeah, yeah. Mississippi, I haven't been. I gotta go check it out. How do you think we should talk to people we never meet before? Like if I want to go talk to people in the street, for example. Great question. Great question. Humility is a grand trait. Awesome. Yeah, humility is great. Okay, so this is interesting because, okay, across different, so every culture has their own etiquette on how to approach, you're saying, people in the street that you don't know. So let's talk strangers. Um, Depending what culture you're in, for example, in the United States, typically, I have a map here on the wall. I'm going to show you guys what I have. I have a world map here, all the places my roommate has gone. So if I'm thinking up ideas, I always look at this map. Um, so it really depends where you are. Typically, if you're like in a small town, even in Czech Republic or the United States, it's common to say hi to a stranger. And I play it safe. So I think it's different when you approach a woman than a man, but typically the safe zone is, um, if the person is reading a book on a bench, be like, "What are you reading? I'm curious." You may not want to sit next to the person on the bench, that may be too close, but just say, "Hey, what are you reading?" Or they're reading in New York, people are reading standing up, so I come up to them. It's harder to approach people though, because if they have earphones, earpods in, it's, you have to like tap them on the shoulder, but that's weird because that's too close. I typically, if I'm talking to another woman, I compliment, from a woman's point of view, I compliment her attire, or I compliment her hair or her bag, so it's easier. Um, if a person's walking with their dog, I just start talking to them about their dog. So I would start off by seeing what the person is doing and see if you could establish a common interest or connection over a common activity. Let's say you're both walking a dog, or when I used to smoke cigarettes, that was really easy. I would ask, "Do you have a lighter?" But then again, I lived in the Middle East, so it's not common to come up to a stranger and say hello, unless you get introduced to them. So again, it really depends where in the world you are. Um, I hope that answered your question, Edward, or gave you some framework to talk to strangers. Mike, my friend is a pastor here. I used to work with him and his wife at a Christian radio network in Tucson back in 2007. I moved up here to work with them. A podcast they started, mine is launching in January. Let us know what you are going to discuss on your podcast, Mike. Paul, what is your goal with strangers? Good question for Edward. It's more to be more confident, to talk to people, like develop communication skills. Absolutely. And the best thing to try on strangers, because if they reject you and ignore you, at least it's not your colleague or your friend, right? Or maybe try a Rotary Club. I've been to a Rotary Club, amazing. Toastmasters is another one, and church. I haven't done that. But I went to a few social activities at the United Methodist Church in Greencastle, Indiana, where I went to school. And it's easier to talk to strangers at church. I agree to that. My podcast will be news and interviews. I would love to check it out because I like interviewing people. I'm eventually going to launch a podcast, but I don't know when, maybe in a year or so. Family Life Radio. I was news director there. Family Life Radio. Cool. Do you talk about family life? Family activities, Family Life Radio. Family Life Radio. Let me look it up. Christian radio stations. Okay, cool. Very nice. All right. All right. Last question. I'm going to be signing off here in about 4 minutes. Last question, anyone? Let's have the drum roll. Wait, Lime Family Life, the company, I've been to the conferences. We were in 13 states. I was responsible for the news content. Fun job. That's pretty cool. And it's Christian radio stations, okay? That's super cool. I always wondered what it's like to work at a radio station and have a show. Um, a talk show. I was kind of curious. I spoke to a radio station here in Spain. They were looking for an American to do a radio talk show, but I wasn't sure if that's for me. I think it's a different skill altogether. It is more interesting to listen to people than to talk. Edward, good point. That's why we got two ears and one mouth. I used to talk a lot, but for some years now, I learned to listen. Definitely a good skill. Much harder to do sometimes, especially like when I have ADHD, so I tend to be very impulsive. And also, the reason I started focusing on communications is just I was always studying communications and understanding how to be less impulsive and listening more because I tend to be hyperactive. And then I just started researching all these techniques, and then I said, why don't I talk about it because it's interesting. And most people need to talk to someone. It's so true. We definitely need to share our little wins and our frustrations as well, the joys and the pains. Sometimes, if we work from home, it could be isolating. Uh, Very cool, brother. Mike, my news talk show in Tucson was so fun. Not overly Christian. Yeah, because Arizona tends to be libertarian state, right? It was news and politics. I went on to be political director. Okay, Republican Party. My mentors are in Arizona, actually, and they're Republican. I like Arizona. I have so many interests, it's hard to narrow. Well, the cool thing about YouTube is that you could explore your interests and you don't have to narrow. And if you do narrow, you can explore them across multiple channels. Thanks, everyone. Please leave a comment and let me know if this Q&A was helpful or just connecting. I have a lot of fun with this. I'm thinking of doing this every week. Let me know if you'd be able to tune in. You don't have to, of course, every week. But I wanted to keep this consistent. I'm thinking of keeping the same time on Mondays. I may switch to a Wednesday, but for now, I'm thinking of keeping the Q&A to Monday. And I will have all of my announcements on the community tabs of the channel. So it's fun. I'll tune in if I can. Awesome. Thanks, Stanley. Okay, thanks, Mike. And Stanley, hit that like and be sure to subscribe. Oh, thanks. Thanks. And I will, I should see you guys next week. Is it almost Christmas? I just checked the date. It's the 16th. Christmas is next week. Oh my God, it's the day before Christmas Eve next week. Enjoy the holidays for those of you that are celebrating. If not, enjoy the time off if you have time off. One year I actually celebrated winter solstice. I didn't even celebrate Christmas. That was a lot of fun. You celebrate Hanukkah, all the other holidays. And if you don't celebrate, use the time to relax and just, work on your wonderful interests and connect with strangers and family alike. Thanks, Jake. Awesome. Thanks, Stanley. And yeah, Stanley, you're awesome. He also moderates other channels, and it's Monday, so he's really busy today. So let's give applause to Stanley. And Christmas Eve, correct. Thank you, everyone, and see you next week. Do the best that you can every day.